having a poor patch of form whatsoever. So look, the ultimate form test. Get straight into the game. Looking like the knife round here to determine sides, because obviously we are playing 2 BO1s tonight. And this is the classic. I loved entering on the knife rounds back in the day. So far, that's looking pretty good for BNK. They're going to get choice of side, which is always an interesting one on Vertigo, isn't it?
Yeah.
They choose to start CT, so there you go.
Yep. All right, well, let's see how it's going to go. 5 USPs as well for BNK. Don't know if that's still really much of a discussion as to whether or not people are picking up the P2K or the USP. But certainly on Vertigo, a map where you can potentially get rushed down the pistol, especially, you think maybe a P2K player or not might not be a bad shout. I thought Hazard as well might have been picking up the P2K here and there, but maybe a discussion for another day. As we're into the pistol round, and Grayhound have a couple of sets of util, so they'll be getting up to some funny business. BNK, on the other hand, looking for a bit of a next stack, maybe.
Having a look at A ramp, not seeing too much. And looking at BNK, obviously they've got this triangle set up, close crossfire as Grayhound creep up and prep the execute for the B site. There's the A main contact, but only seeing one player is not going to prompt to rotate.
3 players on the B side, though. This is a pretty good setup for BNK until Hazard just loses his life for free. He loves that spot, and Vexite knows it. Brace and PZ, good for a couple of trades, and Brace is there to lock the site down for one more. He's done well enough in even surviving here. So it'll be ALISTAIR and Ins that have to try to negotiate this for Grayhound. And there's the first one for ALISTAIR. Won't last long as his head is taken off by Addict, and we're back now to the 1-on-2, and Ins will decide he wants to go elsewhere.
Yes, just dropping, trying to pull the rotate. He knows that if he burns, 20 seconds off the clock, then the CTs do have to actually start to be a little bit concerned about some kind of mid flank. Move into a bit of a different position.
Had to go retrieve the bomb as well from underneath the stairs. But it hasn't really prompted too much of a rotate from BNK. You do see Hats kind of trying to clear out mid. Addict is going to be jiggling in CT spawn, and that's a very sharp shot. Good night so far for BNK as they win the pistol. And 2 pretty sharp shots as well from Addict, the 2 kills that he got in that pistol round. Certainly looking like they, if that continues, is going to be a very positive note for BNK, because Addict has been one of those players that's been really impressive over the last 12, I would say maybe even 18 months for this roster.
There's some crazy players kicking around in NZ right now. Yeah. Like looking at Addict's form on BNK and Nedic's form on Rooster, it's just like outside of Grayhound, there are some damn good players. Force by round 2, picking up over the molly. Of course, with Caster Curse, the man goes down early. You're getting trades all over the place. An absolute mess of a round so far, but Greyhound start to slow things down after the initial picks. They've got the man advantage here. They've got some progression util limiting the info over towards A main. It's still some presence. Keeping an eye on middle, but the rest of these T's starting to shift towards B. So going to turn into a bit of a B split. Has a solo on the site here.
This is the nightmare scenario really for BNK, isn't it? Has it with an MP9, has to try to solo hold B and mid. Not just B, but he's also kind of the guy that has to keep an eye on mid. So he's really got his attention turned in multiple directions. Flash is going to go over the top at a pretty good timing, and it allows him to get 1, but that's really all that she's going to be able to write for BNK. And now you're forced into a 2-on-3 retake with Brace and Hats. Flash over the top to try to set Brace up. Hasn't really caught enough, and liazz just drive-by swing with the Tech 9, and here goes Hats to try to do the same. MP9 in hand. It doesn't quite work out, and well, that is the disaster, unfortunately, for BNK, that they win the pistol on the CT side. And now they face that double eco because they lost the force buy from Grayhound, and it's unfortunately gone from a good start to a pretty bad start.
We've started to see these round 2 buys kind of sneaking back in, even not post-bomb plant, right? Like T-side, you'd always see the same buying patterns over and over again. Oh, if we get bomb plant, we force round 2. If we don't, we save by round 3. And Addict, that's one of those bad habits that you've gotten into anti-eco hunting. You're diving mid, trying to play over the top of the effect detail in the molly. You get yourself caught. Force back in response here for BNK. Or better than Scout. We all know that, and Ali's got that opening pick to kick things off here for Grayhound. BNK, without a whole lot to play with in this round, have got to make some magic happen with these pistols, and They're kind of getting picked apart by this AWP over towards A side. Ooh, pressure towards B main. That's a hell of a shot from Hazard, though, to even up the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not entirely a terrible start to this round for BNK with that little bit of chip damage out from PZ as well, keeping Vexite pretty honest. Hazard is going to have to reroute himself, considering the Molotov forces his position. But it's a full rotate away from the A site from BNK. And it looks like they're going to commit to B one way or the other. They're going to save their guns, or they're going to try to win the round 4-on-4. It looks like it'll be probably the former rather than the latter, because Grayhound are headed over toward A.
Yeah, I mean, especially given you've got two players with Dig armor, low HP, may as well just hold on. Actually, Hats doesn't have armor, but may as well just hold on to the pistols. Try to inflict some more economic damage over time. Simple pieces of util to head up into the A site here. Vexite sent forward to gather the info, but as he spots nothing out, liazz feels safe enough to plant. It has been time for the CTs to actually rotate over on in here if they want to give this one a crack. Another front sight smoke, though. Going to keep the CTs at arm's length for now. And with some of these players, especially the M4 trending back towards B, it does indeed look like it's going to be the save. See if Vexite goes on the hunt with the MP9 at all. He doesn't have a whole lot in this fight. I'm enjoying that he's number 11 on the radar. Haven't seen that before.
Yeah, it's something new, isn't it? I mean, what button do you press on your keyboard to get to him? That's the real question.
Oh, you can see what Brace is trying to go for there. If he could do 30 plus damage, 40 plus damage to a couple of those players, then they can't save to the bomb radius. So I know that wide peak looks a little weird to, you know, your more casual Counter-Strike aficionado, but doesn't end up working out in this case. And I have to say as well, there was an argument there for Brace to just save pistol and MP9. He can maintain the armor, drop a pistol over to somebody else, and you could probably do some more economic damage to Grayhound in this round. As well as an ends well, though. We end up in another situation where multiple hero M4s, one of them immediately takes contact, and Brace actually straight through the molly, spamming his deagle away, gets blessed by Gaben. RNGesus is on his side today.
Yeah, I mean, BNK, they're not making this easy for Grayhound at the very least. They're really forcing them to work for a couple of these rounds. The early stages of this map go their way, and things have been a little bit back and forth. Should still be a salvageable round for Grayhound. Brace not quite going to be able to get in front of that Molotov, and the nade dunks right on his head. And this is another topic of discussion that you were bringing up, I think last night when we were having a chat, that Grayhound, their util usage has been looking really, really good lately in this Dexter era. And there's another good example of it. Just a free kill, basically, for liazz.
It's a point that we made when Dexter used to be in the roster, where it was like we were looking at the util damage for certain players, and I think it was Dexter and Inns in particular, when Nitha was back on the roster, and it was right when the grenade dropping update came in. I think we were talking about it a lot, because Grayhound were like constantly getting util damage that other teams were not getting in the region. They were kind of on the cutting edge of the meta, a bit closer to what people were doing over in Europe, and I think that still persists. I feel like the util usage that we see for Grayhound is something that is not on the level of other teams, and that's not something that I would have said with Sicko in the roster. I feel like Dexter, I don't know what it is, but Dexter seems to bring a level of util usage to the team that is not really, I feel like wasn't present before.
Maybe not replicable without him.
Because obviously you do see him using it a lot of the time, or you see Inns using it a lot of the time, but even some of the other players, some of their util usage, it feels like it's better. I don't know if it's placebo, and it's kind of a moot point because round 5 is an important one. We finally get the buy through from the CT side here. Progression molly down the bottom of the B stairs. Hazard looking to contest in this part of the map. Addict ready with the pop flash timing.
Yeah, Ali just going to be waiting for some aggression there from BNK. Won't get it initially, though they have been quite eager to get aggressive over toward the stairs. Now, though, he'll find the timing as Hazard jiggles the corner, and you can kind of see Grayhound have got BNK's number at the moment. A lot of these opening duels are looking reasonably solid for them. And for B&K, back to square one now. They're down 4 on 5, and they've also dumped pretty much all of their util very early in the round. So this will be a tough one to negotiate for the CT side.
Yeah, another progression smoke up A ramp, denying the info, denying opportunities to the CTs who want to try and aggress somewhere. Absolutely no util in the back pocket left over. Man disadvantage, and Grayhound playing this one by the numbers, starting to set up what looks like, yeah, B execute to try to pull the rotations away from A. A two-man execute here. In's going to be sent up to try to find a duel with someone, but you can see what the name of the game is here for Grayhound. They simply want to pull 3 CTs over here, and let's face it, Inz is just going to clear the site himself while the rest of Grayhound just sneak up side hall into A, and they found the pick over there as well. So you can see Grayhound just giving themselves so many contingencies, and this is the level of form they're bringing. Inz solo execute on the B site, supported by the util from Ali, clears the entire site, and the other armor to push finds an entry as well. It's just perfect play right now.
Yeah, the more you watch of Grayhound, the more you continue to be impressed. And I know there's obviously still conversations going around about who's looking like the strongest team heading into the Asia RMR. I did a little Twitter poll yesterday to get a feeling of what the zeitgeist was, and 47.5% chose Grayhound over Mongols, Vision, or Tyloo. 41.5%
of an Aussie audience.
Well, look, I mean, I think, yeah, the vast majority of my, well, not vast majority, but a large majority of my follower base would be Aussie. So I think there is definitely some bias coming through there. But, you know, even still, I'm starting to kind of believe, you know, I'm kind of starting to believe that that is really a possibility that Grayhound might actually be the strongest team going into the RMR over the Mongols. For me, it's obviously between those two teams at the moment. But yeah, the more I watch of this Grayhound roster, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm actually starting to be convinced. So I hope it's going to come together at the RMR. But obviously, we'll have to wait to see that. With all that said, obviously, I mean, things are looking fantastic right now. Unless you're Dexter. Or even if you are Dexter, apparently things are looking great. Because Hats has got the headshot, but he hasn't got the killing blow. And so Dexter gets a bit of a reprieve there. And Grayhound well on their way to 5-1.
Yeah, this is what I mean about looking methodical, like just the way that they're working map control. They're just playing the macro better than before, and that's obviously the calling influence that Dexter is bringing in, bringing a real strong voice to the team. And obviously, it's not very often, in fact, it's never really, unless you're importing an IGL directly from Europe, that you get someone who's up to date on the EU meta come straight back into your team and really be able to kind of bring exactly how you should be playing CS at the top level straight into the team.
Pretty standard stuff onto the A-bomb side here from Grayhound. Wall of smokes plus the Molotov into the cutout. Nade into the smoke as well to have a bit of a peek, but there's no B&K members hiding behind it. In fact, B&K only now really starting to rotate their way across as that bomb plant has gone down. They're super late to this site, and there's almost no chance that they can make this retake happen. Like, where are you going to find the angle? liazz has already doubled down. Yeah, there was a smoke there for PZ, so maybe if they would have got a couple of opening kills, they could have chanced something with the defuse inside the smoke, but that was just looking way too solid for Grayhound. And so far, so good if you're Grayhound. 5-1. An attack timeout going to be called straight up here by B&K. It's still pretty early days on the map, but you can see where this one is going.
Attack timeout, B&K, got to discuss. This one has already kind of gotten out of control is the issue, Jordan. I mean, look at the money on the T side right now. And that is a side effect of just not putting in enough frags, right? And how many kills we got between the entirety of B&K? Like 12 kills over 6 rounds going into round number 7 here is not enough to take guns out of the hands of the T side. And that means you're fighting an uphill battle on the CT side constantly. Not only are you just going against gun round after gun round of Grayhound over and over and over again, AWP always in ALISTAIR's hands. But once you break through that economy they've already built up for themselves, then you're going against the bomb plants and the loss bonus. This money might be unbreakable for the rest of this half, which means for B&K there's very little room for error. They need clean gun rounds. They need to maintain control of their own CT economy. Starts with the first though. Again, another kind of slow start here for Grayhound. Putting a lot of pressure on this B site defaulter. PZ very much looking for the pick. In's having a tough time finding his feet there. Molly up over the top. Hazza finally takes a clean duel, able to fade away through the smoke as well and maintain that man advantage.
He's got to be a little bit pissed at that one because, you know, you feel maybe he missed his timing there and it's just all gone wrong. But it is what it is, and the way Grayhound is looking at the moment, they probably don't need all 5 members to go through these rounds. So perhaps the 4 is going to be enough. Well, it's actually 3 toward A and 1 toward mid. He has been working these wing positions quite nicely as well in this iteration of Grayhound. And now it's Dexter's turn to try to entry. He's going to get himself 1. Vexite able to find the trade as he strafes through the smoke, but he was not able to find himself the timing. Flash is going to go through there. Hat's easily avoiding it. And now it's just down to ALISTAIR to see if he can pull off one of those clutches that we spoke about at the start of the day. How disastrous that would be for BNK right now if Ali were to pull off a 3-on-1. And he took a while to spot Hats there. Still got that kill, but Hazard was given enough of a timing to pick that round up. So 5-2 the scoreline. BNK will find their first gun round.
With only 2 alive though. Like I said, I mean, you can see the toll that takes on their economy. Even just keeping that 1 player alive on Tetris could have made a bit of a difference. Orbs coming out. Util's good for the CT side, but no cash left over in the back pocket. 2.9 loss bonus. If you get the saves through, you can still drop over guns. It's the good news for BNK. Again, Molly, Util pressure. A little bit more going over to A ramp, and this time PC on the AWP is going to be looking for that line over towards A main rather than the B side of the map.
Dex up. ALISTAIR able to open things up pretty easily. PZ will be able to strike back, but he hasn't been able to get out alive, and he doesn't have any teammates there to support him on the A bomb site. So Vexite just walking up gets a freebie, and that's again the A site taken really easily by Grayhound. At the end of the day, they just win a couple of aim duels walking their way up ramp, and then it's kind of all over.
Yeah. 2 guns must be saved here by BNK. 2.9 loss bonus. Brace and Addict can double drop. Hazard's got 1.4. So could be another 5 rifle buy in the next. But putting economy aside, I just not getting the sense that it matters. I really do feel like the eye test for Grayhound is telling me they are just such a strong team right now, and I'm not sure if BNK is playing well enough to really contest that at the moment. These rounds have not been particularly close. There's not been enough frags being put in by BNK at the end of the day. You know, you can't just keep getting rolled over 1 for 3.
Yeah, I mean, don't think it's unreasonable what you're saying, and what we're watching is evidence of it. But back into it. BNK got to keep trying to run the gauntlet. They'll be able to get a buy through this round. Money's starting to get pretty sparse though for the CT side again. 3.4k loss bonus, of course. It's built up pretty substantially, but it's only going to go so far.
They can still just keep double saving, but like, cool, you're still not taking rounds at the end of the day, and that's the big issue right now. Putting buys together has not really been too awe-inspiring. They need to create some more opportunities for this strong rifling core to actually find opening picks at the start of the round, because even with the all-out PZ lately, I just feel cannot be relied upon to find those opening kills like he used to. So I really feel like, particularly on Vertigo, I really want to see Hazard, Addict, Hats activated, really start to try to identify what are the patterns and the pacing that Grayhound is showing you, and just set them up for strong duels and put yourself in advantageous situations. I really think that's BNK's best hope right now.
Easier said than done, of course. BNK gonna dump a bunch of util on the ramp. They want to deny that map control from Grayhound. But at the end of the day, Grayhound are more than happy to just sort of sit at the bottom of the ramp and allow BNK to throw their precious util away. And then start to work their way up as that util fades away. So all good as far as Grayhound are concerned at the moment.
I think you're seeing BNK hold their util a lot more. They're identifying the pacing of the T side right now. Still a lot of grenades being held over, particularly these HE smokes. Molotov or two. Bit of A util pressure from Grayhound, as well as just making a little bit of noise over here towards the B side of the map. Ins once again given the responsibility of applying pressure to B to keep the rotations honest. And Grayhound with 45 seconds on the clock, moving into a 1-4. Ins on the lurk, looking to potentially apply some pressure to B, and Grayhound looking for this timing. Ins up a ramp now.
This is about the latest in the round that Grayhound have really made their play with only 30 seconds left on the clock. Something that BNK aren't entirely used to. He's on a good line here to get info for that util, but there's only so much that util's going to do. liazz, ALISTAIR, and Dexter all striking precisely on their way into A. And in the blink of an eye, Grayhound have the bomb plant down, and it's now a 2-on-3 retake. Admittedly, liazz and Ins are quite low, but again, how much success are you really going to have against this Grayhound roster when you're retaking at a numbers disadvantage? Apparently a fair bit, according to Addict, as that time still hasn't really ticked away too much. They don't have a smoke to play with, though. The defuse kits are obviously going to help. Double stack setup inside hall, and liazz and Ins are hitting their shots anyway, regardless of the fact that they're low on HP. So it is another one for Grayhound. A bit of a closer affair, but again, it never really felt like they were going to lose that round, and here we are at 7-2.
I mean, they just run down the clock so much, and then as they're coming up a ramp, those entries were so clean. I'm surprised BNK even made a bit of a resurgence in the retake there. I'm going to buy up into this one. It's not really looking like as strong of a buy as we had previously. Just noting that Addict has not bought himself a kit, and no one else is taking one into this round. So if we end up in one of those late round, last 10-second situations, could be a bit of an issue. Potential chance at soft reset here for Grayhound. Addict on the front foot, bottom side of B ramp, has it cleared. 1-for-1 so far. Double swing, and they line up. ALISTAIR puts a bullet in the back of Dexter's head. That has gone very pear-shaped. Sometimes when spacing be a bit too good.
Yeah. Well, liazz has been able to creep his way all the way through mid, and there might be another lineup on offer right here. Oh, that was dangerously close. Shots didn't quite connect, though, for liazz, and so Vexite will have a bit of a task ahead of him. Information's already coming over that A is quite clean, and Vexite's tossing util over toward B anyway, so that's certainly enough information for BNK to figure things out. 1-on-4, worth going for, considering the money is adequate, more than adequate for Grayhound right now, and certainly still a struggle for BNK. So any damage that Vexite gets done now will be quite valuable indeed. He's got this smoke to play around, but hasn't been able to find anything off of it. And now we'll have to do things the hard way. But should be able to get at least one here. And does. There's two, in fact, from Vexite. So still a fairly expensive round for BNK in the end.
Brace able to gather a fair bit of util at the end of that round, which is going to make an M4 drop easier for him. Can get himself a smoke as well. So a pretty strong looking buy into this one for BNK. They are kind of scraping this half together. Let's be real. 2 strong gun rounds in the row to bring it back to a 5-7 half would be transformative given how this game has looked so far. It has not been a close game whatsoever to start. But BNK, if they can really start to get themselves rolling, given that was quite a fortunate circumstance what happened at B main there. One for one to start things off. Traded over towards the A side of the map. Grayhound have taken space over there. Brace potentially looking to take it back. Ins finds Addict towards the bottom of B stairs. He's looking to take another duel with Hazza here.
He's got Hazza locked in, and there's nowhere to go. Hazza will try to take the fight, but Ins is just a bit too sharp there and trades liazz down, so it still remains favorable for the Hounds. PZ close by Generator. He might just get wrapped on his left, and he's not prepared for that one at all. Had to cut corners in the low numbers situation. But once again, Inns has kind of just taken a round away from BNK and said, that's mine, thank you. Scoreline now 8-3, 1 round left in the half to play with. And what is there really to play with for BNK?
I mean, yeah, the buy's pretty putrid. And that's what I was saying. Like, they got quite fortunate towards B main in round number 10. If they had made round number 11 a good round and then potentially had a good buy into this one, we could be talking about a 5-7 half. Unfortunately, though, what happens at B main there with the lineup and the team kill looks like almost a bit of a fluke in the favor of BNK, and it's straight back to business as usual for Grayhound, who now face a much weaker buy, as you mentioned. Famis's and MP9s. We've got very sparse util at 1 minute 35 here. A massive util advantage for the T side already, who are just working the map.
Couple of players still mid this time for Grayhound. Texa and liazz. Step was made. Hazard would have heard it. He's got a lot of ground to watch, doesn't he? A lot of pressure on Hazard in this round. And unfortunately for BNK, it looks like Grayhound are going to head in that direction as well. So he's going to have to be calling for the rotates. And they are coming across. Play close behind the smoke. Anti-flash. Mats is there now as well to help on out. Oh, and the nade almost was favorable. But it's either way going to go pretty comfortably to Grayhound again. They're just finding their entries with relative ease. Brace is still well on his way on the rotation, and Addict sitting inside of a smoke. I mean, there's going to be a flash over the top. Addict has to go absolutely nuclear right here and can't. Grayhound are a well-oiled machine. 9-3 is the scoreline in the first half. Second half, 9-3 the scoreline right now, and Grayhound are definitely looking like they're upholding their end of the bargain. Very much the storyline that we were painting in that pre-match, Pilski. It was Grayhound good, with Dexter especially coming into the roster, and they haven't done anything to dissuade us from that opinion tonight.
Yeah, there's no weak link in the roster either. It's all players within 2 or 3 frags of each other. Difficult prospect for a BNK who have got to get rolling on the T side now, and they're going to do so with a B split.
Couple of taps there from ALISTAIR. He's got the info. Dexter will swing off the back of that as well, but really it's ALISTAIR and liazz that are doing the lion's share of the job tonight for Grayhound, at least here on the pistol. Vexite was able to get himself one as well, and while BNK have actually kind of got control of the bomb site, bomb has dropped forwards, so they're going to have to fight their way toward it, and they're actually doing a pretty good job of that until Inns and ALISTAIR will get themselves one apiece, and yeah, double digits secured for Grayhound, so off on their merry way here in the second half.
Pistol loss though, bit of a death sentence for BNK. What do you do in this situation? You attempt the round 2 force, which is pretty, like, I would say almost kind of obvious in this position when you're down 3 and 10 to try to go for a bit of a Hail Mary, turn the game around. They've actually opted to full save. Single flash on Addict here. Looks like it's going to be steps and pressure towards A main. In says, yes, please. Here comes the take of the forklift room.
He's going to be more than happy to farm up a bunch of cash with that MP9 as well. And Dexter, I'm sure that Hats can't get any further either. Wow, that is a very clinical anti-eco from Grayhound.
I mean,
this
what
map
I'm talking about. They just
soon.
won the whole round with util, bro. Just segmenting off the bridge, molly behind, HE nade, pop flash onto the line, another HE to follow. So oppressive to play against. Orb comes out for Ali. Looks like he's got a front spawn for A. So he really could actually jump up on top of the crane and get an early pick here or run into mid. They may not be ready for an AWP on the bonus round here as well.
Good start again for Grayhound. This has been taken down this time, but ALISTAIR doing pretty good work with the AWP today, 15 and 4. I mean, I guess that's one way to describe it. Pretty good work, maybe an understatement, but either way, it's been, yeah, super easy for Grayhound, and doesn't seem that that's really going to change too much on the CT side here. Vexite is going to have to keep some pretty good attention toward the jump up, but Grayhound aren't even too interested in heading past there. Vexite's going to get his info on the little shoulder peek around the corner into CT that there are members floating around in CT spawn that probably shouldn't be there. Once again, the round kind of devolves a little bit for BNK because they've got to win some isolated duels here. Addict is able to do so against Vexite. It's not quite enough to bring it back to an even number situation, but if they make the right read and go toward B, they could find themselves in a 2-on-1.
Where did Dexter end up here? Still kind of floating down on the middle of the map. He's going to join up with liazz over on the B side. So that's definitely the strong side here for Grayhound. ALISTAIR, though, he's already had 2 in this round so far. Playing around the angles on triple, able to actually catch Hats off guard. Pop flash over the top, doesn't catch him at all. Addict's trying to scramble for the trade before the other rotations come in, and that's a nice raw adjustment to get the bomb down.
Well, these are the kinds of rounds that Addict is definitely able to win. He's the player that you'd expect to be able to do it on BNK. He's 10 and 10 tonight. He's been their quote-unquote standout, I suppose. That'll be a tough one to win, though. Perfectly timed swing from the 2 Grayhound members. liazz and Dexter will ensure that there's just no chance for Addict. And a 12-3 scoreline is where we'll find ourselves with, I mean, it feels like 1 round to go in this map, let's be real.
It's the clinical double peak.
Yeah.
Just so perfect, bro. Like, what am I watching?
Grayhound at their best.
It's what it feels like, right? Like, this is not OCECS. It's meant to be a GOAT rodeo, but Grayhound looks like a perfectly drilled team right now.
Yeah, not much more need to be really said. BNK at least have got the money to fight for it with some weapons, and ALISTAIR has been unsuccessful in finding the opening pick this time. Which means we will at least get a 5-on-5.
4 grenades though? How are you going to take an AWP out of this round? You've got to have some really good spacing, really good movement, or some kind of crazy shot has got to be hit, because this is problems for BNK. 4 grenades to get through the rest of this round. Massive util disadvantage at 1:20 on the clock. You can see just how much util Grayhound has. It would almost take a bit of a mistake from the CTs here. Info spotted out towards A. Immediate pop flash over the top to try to punish. Brace might have found a timing here.
Oh, he has, but he hasn't been able to really take advantage of it, and will be punished for that. And over towards the B side, things are not going well for BNK. BZ will survive the grenade, but he won't survive the AWP shot from ALISTAIR. And Addict has certainly been hurt again. So he's in another sticky situation, this time 1-on-3, which is going to be even more difficult than the last that was asked of him. And that's that. Grayhound are going to win the map 13-3. They made that one look very easy indeed. And I don't really know that there's too much to comment on beyond the fact that, well, it's exactly as we called it in that pre-match. Grayhound are looking pretty damn unstoppable
They
at
look
the moment.
so good. I'm getting excited. I'm so ready. I almost don't even want to believe with the major around the corner that they're looking this good. And it's only domestic games, so I'm not going to get myself excited.